time. Bayliss still there in 6th. All the way again, they have to do it. 18 laps, 35 miles. A much better start by Neil McKenzie, number 1 this time. An equally good start by Chris Walker. But it's Michael Rutter, the red bike, number 3 in front. Walker going through on the inside, though, as they come out of Riches for the first time, down towards Sears. This right-hander have to be very careful here because the tyres are a little bit cold. Very easy to run off, run wide. Stringing away they go. Walker riding with Rutter now. Ahead of him, the Suzuki of James Hayden. There is somebody on Michael Rutter's left, but look at Hayden coming out of the slipstream of Chris Walker and going through. James Hayden leads. Suzuki did some work on carburation overnight. It seems to have paid dividends. It's very, very fast. McKenzie going past Hislop in the early stages. He knows full well that he's got a job on his hands to beat his teammate, and he's doing that job early on. Hoping now to get in touch with this pair. First, second place, number 2, Chris Walker. Equally determined to put some space between himself and Steve Hislop. James Hayden's riding oh so well. He's back now in the UK after 2 years at Grand Prix level and a year at World Superbike, and he knows this is where the action is. You can easily disappear into obscurity if you're not on the home scene. Just look how hot the home scene is. Hayden, number 8, leads. Walker, then Hislop and McKenzie. Hot on the tail of the number 3 Honda in 3rd place, Michael Rutter, and that Honda's going a lot better. Shakes his head a bit. We're riding with it now, and through goes one of the Yamahas, and that's Hislop.
Michael Rutter riding much better in this race. As you can see, Steve Hislop disappearing off into the distance there. The revs building up on Michael Rutter's Honda. Drew the gearbox up to 170 miles an hour. And that's the view of them coming down this straight. And Hislop's now got past Walker, so that's put Steve Hislop on bike number 11 up into 2nd place with just one man, James Hayden, on bike number 8 in front of him.
This could almost be a 125cc race. They're all so close. They're swarming all over the back of the race leader still. James Hayden, number 8, but the Suzuki going remarkably well. Hislop, I think, will be amazed how quickly the Suzuki is going. Nothing between these bikes now. They're getting better and better and better every week. But Hislop, I think, has the edge on top speed just a bit. He's really close now at the chicane. Russell's Bend. Out of the right-hander onto the start-finish straight. Let's see how the Yamaha number 11 compares. The Suzuki pit crew telling both their riders, RYMER and Hayden, that they have plus noughts, in other words, no advantage. You can see there's no advantage here because Steve Hislop is just about hanging on the back of James Hayden's leathers. It's very, very close. Now, what's Hislop going to do? Is he going to stalk him round and make his move later in the race? Or, well aware of the fact that McKenzie's behind him and closing, it's my guess he's going to go for it as soon as he possibly can. And he's making his move now. He's on the left, coming down towards the S's. Drafts it past James Hayden into the lead. Hislop leads. McKenzie has still to get past Chris Walker. Where's Walker? There's Walker in 3rd. There's Hayden in 2nd. These two have a gap though, Roger. Is McKenzie going to be able to pull this one back?
Well, McKenzie's done it before. No doubt he's trying his hardest. He won't want Steve Hislop to close the gap in the championship any closer than it already is. But look at Steve Hislop's riding style. Absolutely immaculate. He rides this bike very, very well. Of course, Steve has come from 250cc bikes, which are smaller. You need to get yourself really well tucked in on the small bikes. And Steve Hislop's doing just that on this big Yamaha.
Race leader, number 11, Hislop. Then it's Hayden, Walker, and again that rear wheel hanging out. 5th place, Rutter. Going right with him now, Matt Llewellyn. This is Michael Rutter. You can see just how much he's working. The rider moving himself backwards and forwards, sitting up to break. A lot of wind and buffeting at this point, Roger.
Well, he'll be wanting to get himself tucked in, and as I say that, he does. This is down the straight now, the very fast straight. He's looking through that dark visor, believe it or not, he's in there. He'll be concentrating hard and preparing himself for what's got to come, and that's braking hard at the end of the straight as Matt Llewellyn sweeps across the front of Michael Rutter to take another place. Llewellyn running a little bit wide there, though, and maybe Rutter had the chance to get back up the inside into the bomb hole, but perhaps not quite brave enough.
I think Michael Rutter's got a job on his hands now to keep the Honda in front of Terry Rymer's flying number 7 Suzuki, and right with them Troy Bayliss. Rymer knows that the Australian is fast, and he's going to be following him all the way down, maybe cashing in. Oh, through goes Terry Rymer. Michael Rutter then back one more place. Now the Australian's Ducati is behind him. Will it come past? We know the John Hackett prepared motor is fast. Walker and MacKenzie. Walker with his knee, just lifting his knee up. He touched it, felt the road. That was his depth gauge. He knew how hard he'd got the bike cranked over. He also knows that Niall MacKenzie is right up the inside. He's going to make himself as big as he can to keep the Yamaha behind. MacKenzie, meanwhile, fully conscious of the fact that race leader Hislop is getting away by the second. The Yamaha out of the Kawasaki slipstream. Through into third goes MacKenzie, and also closing now on the back of Walker. Number 5 on the Ducati, Matt Llewellyn, who goes from here to the road races on the Northwest 200. Number 4, John Reynolds, going really well. John Reynolds crashed out at the race of the year at Mallory Park, breaking his right heel. That's where MacPHERSON had one of his 3 big crashes as well. Good to see Reynolds back in business. He's got a plated and screwed right heel, but he's getting quicker all the time. Good news to see it. Riding like the Reynolds of old.
Riding like the Reynolds of old indeed, and it's great to see him returning to some form. Ian MacPHERSON looking like he's struggling a bit. Let's not forget that he fell off in round 7 earlier today, and I think he's suffering a little bit with lack of confidence after that crash. Oh my word, and what's he doing now? He's gone straight off the track. I don't believe it. Anyway, gain your composure, Ian, get back in the race, get your head down, get to grips with it again, but back at the front, Terry RYMER now ahead of Matt Llewellyn.
This is one of the best performances by the red Ducati team that we've seen this season. Similarly, number 7, Terry RYMER, with number 5, Matt Llewellyn, right with him, is pressing on. Ahead of them, Chris Walker, and ahead of them, the flying Yamaha pair, punctuated by Terry RYMER's teammate on the flying Suzuki, number 8, James HAYDON. Look at RYMER, a man on a mission. He's really closing down now the back of Chris Walker. Matt Llewellyn being dropped away just a fraction. The Suzukis are desperately fast, and my goodness me, they need to be. A good crowd here at Snetterton. We are now getting record crowds at all of the circuits for this Motorcycle News British Superbike Championship, and with quality racing all the way down the field like this, I'm not surprised. Into Russell's chicane again. Terry RYMER, number 7. Matt Llewellyn. Oh, Haydon's down. Haydon's in the gravel. That rear drive chain, you can see it hanging from the bike. The chain is off. Haydon doesn't know. He's trying to hook a gear, get it fired up, and the marshals have told him that he has something of a transmission problem. So Haydon's race is over. What a catastrophe from second place.
Well, James HAYDON is out of the race, but it won't be the last time we see him running at the front, I'm sure. Now back on board with Michael Rutter. Michael Rutter riding a lot better in this race, and there we see him in view on bike number 3, closely followed by John Reynolds on bike number 4, and this is a very good ride from John Reynolds. I'm sure that heel, that broken heel, is feeling much better.
Well, the important thing is, with 5 weeks break now before the next round, Reynolds has got all the time in the world to heal, and let's see him back in action. We've got a long way to go in this championship, and one of John Reynolds' favourite circuits is Donington Park. Similarly for Michael Rutter, the man we're looking at now, he likes Donington. That's the next round of this championship, and Rutter's Honda, although quick, doesn't appear to be quick enough here, however much he's got his head down, because number 4, John Reynolds, right on the back of the Ducati, matching the Honda, the number 3 Honda for speed. The Ducati is alongside, but oh, Rutter just a bit later on the brakes, and I don't think John Reynolds is going to throw caution to the wind at this point in his career. He knows he's got a long season ahead of him, and remember, this pair have both moved up a place because of Haydon's crash.
Yeah, I've just stepped in there, I've just gone for the power, and he's just locked up on me, and I thought, what? I tried to jump back up, and the chain had come off. The chain had come off and locked it up. So I don't know what the problem was, but I mean, to cause it, but I was fairly disappointed, because, you know, one thing I was going to do is, you know, I thought Hislop probably had an advantage, he's been quickest all weekend, but I thought just tuck him, just get it smooth, and just go for the points, you know, don't try and, I was trying to stick with him and not do anything silly, so when I came on, I couldn't believe it, and it was like, what? But, you know, at least it wasn't my fault, and we live to fight another day. The team are getting closer and closer all the time, and we're going to be there. So.
That is one very pumped up young man, and I predict he will win one of these races in the very near future. Look at RYMER, number 7, the Suzuki, out of the draft of the number 2 Kawasaki, and Terry RYMER goes into third. A fantastic performance by the Suzuki man. The lone Suzuki now running in the race, making amends for Haydon's crash. But how well this team is going now in the 1998 season. Yamaha lead, Yamaha second, Suzuki third, Kawasaki fourth, Chris Walker battling on, but a long way to go. The tail enders, they're right in the tail enders. Hislop still leads, but McKenzie's with him. Terry RYMER, as they fight through the Russell chicane, approaching the last lap. 1 lap to go.
You'll notice that Terry puts his backside on the top of the seat. That's to streamline the whole effect of the bike, and Terry's a big guy.
Second place, Neil MacKenzie has wound in 2.7 seconds in the last 3 laps on race leader Hislop, and Hislop knows he's got to make himself very wide on this last lap because MacKenzie wants to make amends. He knows he's got a championship fight on his hands. The Yamahas are equally matched. MacKenzie's in the slipstream. He's going to pull out on the left-hand side as they come down towards the S's, and he does. He heels in, but fantastic corner speed from Steve Hislop. He learned that in his 250cc days. Into the S's, Hislop drafting through there, keeping MacKenzie behind. A rare wheelie from Neil MacKenzie. Round the bomb hole they go, into the dip, past the straw bales, placed there for rider safety. Up they come towards Coram Curve, the last sweeping double apex right-hander before they go down towards Russell chicane. Oh, the rear wheel of MacKenzie, there's contact! Hislop's on the gravel, MacKenzie's on the grass. Where is RYMER? MacKenzie's, oh dear me, RYMER's through, Walker's through. MacKenzie's down in 4th. Who's going to get the drop here? It's Terry RYMER takes the win for Suzuki. Hislop was 3rd, Walker got 2nd. What a fiasco between the Yamaha men. That was almost unbelievable. Terry RYMER certainly can't believe it, but Hislop says, well done, mate. What a result. MacKenzie and Hislop, clearly no team orders there. They gave away 1st and 2nd to Suzuki and Kawasaki. Bayliss, another good ride. Llewellyn and John Reynolds, a brilliant 8th place.
Because I was catching the guys ahead, and I could see they were bashing each other around. Chris had some sort of troubles. I passed him, I thought, well, I'll settle for 3rd now, it's the last lap. And then I saw the 2 guys going into the chicane, banged into together. I thought, now's my chance. And I just got my head down and tried not to collide with Stevie on the exit, and then it was home free.
A delighted Terry RYMER. Peter Graves, a double privateer win. Vincent, the Australian Nolan, was 3rd. Phil Giles, 5th. But Steve Hislop, what did he think of his teammates' move?
Yeah, well, I started on a softer tyre like the first race, but it broke up mid-race, and I know it was moving, my times went off, but I just thought I had enough in hand to hold it through to the chicane on the last lap. But Neil thought there was an opening, and I don't think it really was there. But
What actually happened down there?
well, Neil, I was nearly at the point of the curve, and just Neil appeared at the wrong angle, so I just had to set up. And I mean, it was just a case of straight across the gravel, but it punched us even onto the other side of the track. Tried to light it up to get back, and Terry and Chris just had the run on us to the line.
Phil Giles doing a good job in the privateers table, as we've said before, a new name for the future. But after that incident at the chicane, is MacKenzie about to change his game plan?
I mean, I'm not pointing the finger at anyone, but Steve, I suppose, set the precedent at Open Park, barged up the inside and pushed me out of the way, which I try not to do, but I can do that stuff. It's maybe dangerous, but I can do that stuff, and if that's what it's going to take to win the race, then I'm going to be trying. I mean, I'm there to win the championship as much as Steve is, and I don't know, I mean, I'm sure we're still good mates after all of this, but it's a racing incident, but hopefully it just doesn't get dangerous.
Fighting talk, that really sets it up for Donington. Look at the lead coming down all the time. Hislop closing. He means business, and the Suzuki's in there. HAYDON